Everybody, it's Ryan here. I want to welcome you guys back to 9 to 5 Exodus. I'm holding this plaque for a reason. I'm going to share with you guys this in just a moment. But if you're here on this video right now, you're probably been searching and seeing videos where people are talking about why nobody wants to work anymore. I want to share with you guys my story on the last job that I quit. This plaque that you guys may see framed in the background of some of my videos. I want to talk about, my last experience working a job, why I quit, why I decided I was not going to work for somebody else anymore. And maybe this video is going to be like your starting ground for you to be able to understand and decipher if this is something that you want to transition into. Because here on this channel, 9 to 5 Exodus, we help people specifically come up with a step-by-step game plan on how to transition out of the work field in less than 6 months. Specifically, our goal over the next 2 years or the next 24 months, we want to help 1,000 people quit their job. Okay. And so if you guys can see this kind of raggedy plaque, this is the plaque that hangs up in the background of all my videos. But as you can see, like this is the company that I works for. As you guys can see the date, as I share the date with you guys a lot, December 17th, 2020. It lets you guys know that myself, to whom it may concern, this letter is written here December 17th, the name of the company I work for, Fast Response Services, that Ryan Tate, me, is no longer an employee of Fast Response Services. Ryan Tate has resigned from his position with his company on 12/17 due to starting his own business. And I look at this plaque every single day. Obviously, it hangs up normally up there in the background. But I look at this plaque every single day. Just recently, I don't know if you guys saw this on, on social media, but here on YouTube, there was like an ex-Tesla employee who's been sharing their story. Like he went into his office and they told him that essentially he was fired. This guy was traveling, an hour and 30 minutes every single day to get to work, being a loyal employee for years. And, people can fire. And so one of the things that when I was thinking about, should I quit my job? First thing that I had in mind was that, a job is not something that in today's time is something that's stable. No matter how we preach it or how we believe that a job will give you security, it's like a false sense of security. And so for me, one of the things that I would just go through in my mind is that if this false sense of security was the only thing that was keeping me there, then I would rather continue to bet on myself. At this job, I found myself, I remember, working there, and some days I was literally doing the job of like 4 different people. I was doing a customer service role. I would answer the inbound calls that would come. At one point, I was dispatching for the company. One point, I was also doing the sales, like the cleanup sales, I guess you would call it, where if a technician or one of our, I guess, lead salespeople had went out and tried to sell a person and they couldn't sell them, and they would give me the hard stuff to try to sell. And then also I was helping with the marketing, doing consulting as well. So I was literally doing 4 positions, but I was only getting paid for one. And with the dispatching position at this job, a lot of times you were almost on call. It seemed like 24 hours a day, because with a heating, an AC company, a lot of times, people are going to have emergency calls. So they're going to have calls during the night, especially here in Las Vegas, where it gets extremely hot during the summers and extremely cold during the winters. It could be 24 hours a day where, like, if you have this dispatch phone, that you would be required to essentially be able to answer people in real time. And I just remember just feeling this pressure, feeling like weighed down, that this job had really just turned into a nightmare. I went to this company. I was almost like hand selected to come over there because I had done previous work for another AC company and had gotten them good results. And I found myself, every day just like dreading to go into work. It felt like I was um, literally would rather do anything but go into work. Um, Not because I don't like working, but because it was just such a stressful environment. The owner of the company, he didn't make it a culture where people felt excited to come to work. Most people, again, were just dreading to hear his voice. He put this just, I don't know, this pressure on you where you just felt um, you couldn't do anything right, essentially. And so the day that I ended up quitting, I remember I texted my boss I wasn't coming into work. I told him I needed to take a personal day, and he's asked me, "Am I all right?" And I was sitting there um, contemplating on like, how do I even answer this? Am I all right? Am I all right? No, I am not all right. I'm doing the work of like four different people, but again, only getting compensated for one. And then sometimes I would have to fight for my compensation. I would have to like literally pull up every deal that I sold, every single commission, and show them, specifically like, my check would be short because of these little technical errors. And it was like I was fighting to get paid my worth, and so I wasn't all right. I mean, especially as a man, growing up in South Central LA, one of the things that you're just taught and ingrained and instilled in your mind is like you don't let people play with your money, and I felt like they were playing with me in a certain aspect, and it just got to the point where I was done, and so I told him no, I wasn't all right, and I started explaining some of my grievances, and he asked me if I wanted to like sit down and meet with him at Starbucks, and I said sure. So we would go to Starbucks. We sat down, we chopped it up, we talked, and everything was cordial um, until I started expressing, what my grievances were. And one of the things that happened is I was, alluding to him that I was probably going to leave, that, I was probably going to put in my 2 week notice. He was asking me questions like, what would I end up doing? And I'm like, I would figure it out. That's what I would do, is I would figure it out. I mean, nobody's, entitled to anything, especially in this job market. Um, I'm a grown man. I've been taking care of myself this, since I've been a kid. So I'm gonna figure it out. And one of the final questions that really kind of set things off, where it was just like I just felt like God was just like come on, get up and just walk out of here. Have some sense of self respect for yourself. Was when I asked him, I was like, just please, just honestly tell me the truth. If you were me and you were in my exact position, getting paid what you're paid, working these four positions essentially, would you accept that for yourself? And he looked me straight in my eyes and he told me no. And so, as a man, like I just felt this pulling that if he could sit up here and look me in my eyes and look me in the depths of my soul and tell me that he valued himself more than I was currently valuing myself, I knew that it was time for me to leave. And so again, normally what happens is you put in a 2 week notice, you work out the formalities of it, but I was just completely done. And he asked me if I wanted to work out my 2 weeks, and I'm like, well, if I don't have to, then no. I'm good. This could be my last day. And so we went back to the office. I had to sign some like legal paperwork. This is what I was left with, and I was on my own. And it was almost like a God sent situation where I just began to like dive deep in like what would I do? How would I start taking care of myself? And I started slowly but surely putting the pieces to the puzzles together. One of the things that kind of springboarded me into being a full-time entrepreneur again was this one thing where there was an app called Clubhouse, a social media app where you could go on there. People were giving value, people sharing with people how to build different businesses. And I was in one of these rooms where they were, talking about how to build a specific type of business. And one of these entrepreneurs, his name is Joshua Chris, he held a contest. I think he was giving away like $5,000. And I remember, having this feeling and hearing a voice tell me to enter the contest that I was going to win. And I remember, I was driving at the time. I pulled my car over, I entered the contest, and I remember clear as day, December 24th, 2020, 7 days from the day of quitting my job. Um, it was around 5:45 p.m. I get a message from Joshua Crisp like, "Hey, what's your cash app? I'm going to send you some money for, you were one of the winners of this contest." And a couple minutes later, I had the money in my account, and it set me on a course to understand that it was like I had the blessing of God to just continue to just build a business and like put my own future in my own hands. And so if you're watching this again, I know that probably all over the place, but that's my story. This is how I quit my job. I've seen so many people come on here and they made videos about why nobody wants to work. And I think one of the reasons why nobody wants to work is the fact that, we're tired of giving the best years of our lives to companies who don't appreciate it. We're tired of giving the best of ourselves to companies who don't value it, who look at you like you're not even on their same level, that you're not a person just like they are. And I just couldn't take it anymore. Like, if this guy had made it a successful business for himself and he wasn't much older than me, yes, he had a head start. Yes, his dad was in business and helped him to get in business. But I knew that at the end of the day, he was no different than me. And so if he figured out a way to be successful, that I could figure out a way to be successful as well. And so that's my story. I pray that if you are in that place where you're looking to transition out of your job, that this channel right here could be a resource to you, that you can stand up for yourself, that you can understand that there is a way to make it out, even if you don't see it that way right now. And so with that being said, I'm going to link to some of our other videos where we talk about how specifically I earn a full-time income now. And I pray that those videos bless you. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.